have something to tell you.
Okay.
Something in my life has come back in wave 3, and as a 40-year-old man, I'm all in. I pushed all my chips in.
Are you getting a 1-speed bike again?
No, I did get one of those.
I know. I
did get
remember.
one of
You had
those.
like a beach cruiser like that you would have in like
Yeah.
Long Beach, California.
Yeah.
Except you lived in Royal Oak and you could only use it like 2 months out of the year.
Dyno Cruiser. It was the Cadillac of bikes.
Oh, it was great.
But
What are you all in
on WWE wrestling.
Did you watch WrestleMania?
I did. I watched it. The other
WrestleMania
night.
was this weekend.
Yeah, 2 days ago. I watched it. So,
Did you pay for it?
Well, here's the deal.
Okay.
So when I was younger, like 3rd, 4th grade, as we all were, we were into Hulk Hogan,
Right.
Junkyard Dog, Andre the Giant, all that stuff. So I watched
Ted
wrestling.
DiBiase.
I think that came later.
Okay, so you're saying the originals. Georgie Animal Steel.
Exactly.
Yes.
All that stuff, that like early to mid 80s wrestling. And then I got away from it. You grow up. Well, then, like in my 20s, when I was touring with my band, with the Insiders, we would tour with other bands. And this band called Squad 5-0, they came on tour with us, and they got us all back into wrestling. Now, when we got back into it, it was like 1997. WCW had Monday Nitro.
And they had Goldberg at the time.
Yep, they had Goldberg. NWO started, where it was like the big factions with the Wolf
So
Pack.
Kevin Nash.
Kevin
right,
Nash,
yeah.
Scott Hall.
Right.
Big Papa Pump.
That's right. Yeah, that's
Buff
true.
Bagwell. Sting, Lex Luthor.
Right.
Or Lex Luger. All those guys.
They couldn't use the name Lex Luthor.
Yeah, correct.
'Cause they were like, what's the weirdest name we can come up with? How about Lex Luger? Sounds like Loogie.
Right.
Yeah, Lex Luger.
And they're like, his arch enemy could be Soiper Man. They're like, we'll just change it a little bit. SOIPERMAN.
If they come at us with a trademark infringement, we are free and clear.
Exactly.
Trust me.
Done and
Trust
done.
me. I worked on the Ricky Rouse and a Model Muck campaign. We're totally clear.
We're good. So in the 90s, like they had all that, and I was totally in. And then those Monday Night Wars where it was like WWF's Monday Night Raw versus the Monday Nitro. And then eventually I got away from it, and then Vince McMahon bought it all. And so for years I haven't done anything.
But for the record, we used to go to see these
Correct.
events.
Yeah.
Joe and I used to dress up, and I'll see if I can find a picture. Maybe we'll post it as the picture for this podcast for this week. We would get front row tickets from the promoter of WWE, and we would meet people like Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
Who
Hardy
died.
Boys.
I think Eddie Guerrero died.
Yeah, he did. Heart attack.
Yeah, we met the Hardy Boys, or did we? No, we met the Dudley brothers.
No. We met the Hardy Boys. We met Eddie Guerrero, the Hardy Boys, and
the Dudleys. That was the black guy. They were like brothers who were, one was black and one was white.
Yeah, I don't remember meeting those.
Did
we?
Yeah. Didn't we? Or was that me and Wendy that met them? Wendy went one time when you couldn't go.
I think that might have been.
I think that's the story.
I think that might have been Wendy.
Yeah.
Because, I don't remember meeting.
I just remember
Dudley
asking Eddie Guerrero if he would put us in a headlock, and he said, cool. Like, he
Yeah.
was down with an armbar.
Exactly. Like, normally, like, somebody now would be like, no, that goes against the blah, blah. But Eddie Guerrero, we were like, we waited. We were the last ones in line, and we got up to him. We were in full, like, get up, like... Again, you got to post a picture.
Yeah, we
looked like white trash.
Yeah, we had like cut off shorts. I remember we had no sleeves on our shirt, and I think we both had wigs on.
Yeah, I had construction boots. My outfit was construction boots, no socks, cut off short jean shorts.
Yeah, super short.
Yep, I had a white T-shirt on that I put
something you are, but it was spelled wrong.
Yeah,
you're out or something, but it was spelled Y-O-U-R.
And then I had like
you're going down or something.
An Indian print, like a southwestern, what you would see like on a southwestern rug that's on the wall. I had that pattern,
like a Navajo
vest.
Indian.
Yeah, like
had
a Navajo,
woven.
Yep, I had a vest on that had that, and then my wig was. Like if you've ever seen the comedian Gallagher.
Yes, yeah.
It's like a leather biker hat.
That you could wear to like a gay like S&M club.
Yeah, like a leather biker hat. And then it had the hair that came down the sides of the back. So it looked like Gallagher the comedian.
Yeah, and I wore cutoff shorts, same thing. I think I wore a sleeveless shirt that said 80 on X on it.
You had high tops with the big tongue. You know?
And then I had a wig that was black, so it sort of matched my whole...
like a black
And people, when we
long
would
hair.
walk in, would be like, what in the heck are these
We
guys
were
doing?
going crazy.
And we would
remember Channel 4 stopped us to interview us. And they stopped us to interview us, and we heard them as we were walking up, and they were like, get a load of these guys. And they were like, and I was like, hey, you guys want to interview me? And they're like, yeah. So they interviewed us, and they're like, why are you here? Because it was a big deal. We were down at Joe Louis Arena. It was Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, The Rock was there.
Yeah. It was a big old thing. And I remember her asking me questions, and I was just like, this is all a family. It's a family here. Everyone loves each other. I was doing all that. And as soon as she was like, okay, we're done, we took our wigs off, and we're like, we're just normal dudes. We're just down here having fun. And
I don't
she
remember
was
that
like,
part.
yeah, she was like, this is hilarious, blah, blah, blah. You guys are going to be on at 11. Well, then I watched at 11, and we didn't make it. We ended up on the cutting room floor.
I just remember one of my crowning achievements in life is not my children, not being married, not all my work on the radio, is that we went to Joe Louis Arena one time, and there was a match. I don't even remember who the two wrestlers were. One was from another country. And one
from
was
Mexico.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
One was a Mexican wrestler.
Yeah.
A lucha libre.
Yeah. And so he came in there and started to taunt the crowd, to which Joe and I stood up, and I believe Joe started this in Joe Louis Arena, and said, USA. USA. And we got the entire...
all of Joe Louis Arena.
Chanting USA because we started it. And
which got the guy from the United States fired up. Like, he was like being tapped out, and they lifted his arm, and it fell, and they lifted it, and it fell, and they lifted it. We got the
power of the people.
And he started pumping his fist, and he got up, and then we were chanting USA. Well, the dude, the Mexican wrestler... He totally plays up. He's looking around like, what's going on?
Was it Rey Mysterio Jr.?
No.
That was later. Okay.
Yeah, this was a guy who looked like, for those of you, if you're listening and you happen to be a wrestling fan, it was a guy who looked like Psychosis.
Okay.
And so the guy points to us, and we're standing up, and we're what, 50 yards from the guy?
No, we were closer than that. We could hear him talking.
So... We're standing up chanting USA. We get the entire Joe Louis Arena chanting it. And the dude grabs the ropes, stands up on the bottom rope, and points at us. Dude, I sat in my seat so fast.
He was like, shut up and sit down. And we did.
Yeah, we did. And then we looked at each other, and we're like, what in the, he's not going to come get us. So we stood back up. But we had already looked like we were sitting next to Tommy Hearns.
That's right. Yeah.
Darren McCarty.
Yep.
And
we're dressed up.
Yeah, we're dressed up, so we look like absolute, just trash. But it was fun.
Okay, so you're all in again.
So I'm all in again. So I had last week, I was sitting at home, and I was doing the thing where I'm flipping around on Netflix. I've basically seen everything I could see on Netflix. I'm like, I want something new. I want something I haven't seen, something that's brand new. It was just itching for it. I turn on Hulu. I'm going through Hulu, and one of the things that popped up in Hulu was Monday Night Raw. And so I'm like, you know what? Wrestling is male soap opera.
Yeah, for sure.
To females out there, if you like it, awesome. But,
it's mostly dudes that are
it's just like if dudes watch normal soap operas. That's kind of the odd one out. So... for females watching wrestling.
Yeah, I love Days.
Exactly. Oh, I wonder what Clark is doing this week.
Yeah, I love Days of Our Lives.
Remember when he died last week and then he came back?
He came back with a patch. He's obviously someone different.
With a passion. He came back with a passion and a fire.
He's someone different, stupid.
For Susie.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I see it and I'm like, dude, I'm going to start watching it. So I start watching it and I was just like, I want more.
Yeah.
And so I started longing for the old days because I'm watching it and I'm like, I don't know who these guys are, the new guys. I have no clue who these guys are. I don't know the plot points. I go online and I realize that if you go to the WWE Network and you can download the app onto your Xbox,
it'll
or whatever,
tell you the backstory of everybody?
No, listen. I'm not talking to people's backstories. I'm talking old seasons.
Oh.
So if you go to WWE Network, you can pull up the 1984 season.
What?
Honest to God. You can watch week by week.
Was the Hulkamaniac on there?
Absolutely. You can watch everything, dude.
Really?
WWE owns the vaults to everything because they've bought out all their competition.
Right.
So everything's on there. So currently, I have started in 1997.
The rise and fall of Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Of the NWO.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like watching all of that, and then when you get the WWE network, you get all
You are all
pay-per-view.
in.
Yeah, you get all the pay-per-views for
How
free.
much was this?
If you sign up, it's free for the first month.
Oh, okay.
And after
It's $6,000 a year.
yeah, then after
You're
that,
like, it's a deal.
It's only $250 a month. No, after that, it's $10 a month. So I have it for a month, and I'm going to try and watch as much as I can.
Look at you.
And then figure out if. But dude, I'm going back watching all the old stuff. But you want to know what's crazy is there was one match that I was watching. I'm literally watching it, and I'm like, that guy murdered her. So Chris Benoit.
Benoit, yeah.
He murdered his wife, who is a character on the show. So I'm watching it. He murdered her. Then the other woman that was in the ring was Miss Elizabeth. So she OD'd on alcohol and
That's
drugs.
right. She was Ted DiBiase's woman, right?
No, she was Macho Man Savage.
Macho Man's woman.
Yep, and then kind of became Lex Luger's woman, and she ended up dying in his apartment.
Arms.
He was paralyzed.
What?
So like you're watching. all
Wasn't there
this-
like 4 Ultimate Warriors too?
Yeah, but like you watch this the WCW like late 90s, and like what's so crazy is every single dude, like you look at him and then you look him up and it's like this guy hung himself. This guy died from this. This guy overdosed. This guy killed himself. This guy killed himself.
Really?
It's crazy. So you're watching this and it's like you have a crystal ball because here you are
Yeah.
20 years later, watching it. And
You're
it's-
like, this guy made a
it's
sex
bizarre.
tape with Bubba the Love Sponge.
Right, his wife. Yeah, it's
Bubba the
crazy.
Love Sponge's
But I'm
wife.
all in, dude, and I'm loving it.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you watch WrestleMania? You said you
I
did.
did.
Okay, did you watch tonight? Because I happened to turn on wrestling tonight. This is no word of a lie. We turned on wrestling tonight because my daughter was like, I want to see what wrestling's all about. So this girl, Paige, she retired during WrestleMania.
retired, yep.
She's back, though. She's now the CEO of Thursday Night or Tuesday Night Raw or whatever the heck it's called. So that's on tonight. But I kind of felt like I want to get back into it.
Yeah, I'm loving it. And what's funny you said about your daughter is my daughter came in the other night while I was watching WrestleMania because the girls, they had just got back from Florida, so they were hanging out, and I asked them.
You're like, I wanted all the dish of all the crappy time they had.
Yeah. And so I was like, what do you guys want to do tonight? And they're like, Dad, we just want to rest. We've been in the car for 24 hours, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So they were watching shows, and Netflix just did season 2 of Unfortunate Events. They love that. They were watching that. So I was like, hey, you guys, I'm going to slip out and, watch a little WrestleMania. So my oldest comes in and she's like, Dad, what is this? She's like, is this like UFC?
Is this heaven?
And she goes, is this like UFC? I'm like, Ella, sit down. Dad's going to teach you about wrestling. In 5 minutes, she was hooked.
Because it's so simple. It is such a simple formula. However, it has never been duplicated.
Yeah.
Not even when we hosted a wrestling event.
Yes.
One time, ladies and gentlemen, a friend of ours who ran a church camp asked Joe and I to be the announcers at a wrestling event.
Yeah.
Now, much like the WWE, it was scripted. We knew the outcome before. Okay, this version was scripted. Yeah, this was scripted.
What do you mean scripted? Wrestling is
no, but ours was scripted. I'm sorry, but I misspoke. I made it sound like WWE was scripted.
Oh yeah, because I was gonna say that's real.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's real to me, damn it. You ever see that guy crying? Yeah. I just want to tell you guys it's real to me. You put your bodies in the way. It's real to me, damn it.
I mean, they do put their bodies on the line, man. That ain't no joke.
Okay, so we had something a little bit on the lower level.
Yeah.
And they had a ring. Which
only like a peg or two down.
And the idea was that someone was going to take the values of the Bible and put them into a wrestling thing. So
and,
there was like
beat the devil.
There was a good guy and there was a bad guy. Yeah, the devil was going to lose. During this, though, they brought in all the children. Now, the children were from inner city schools and from different parts of the state that I don't really know much about, but I do know that they were from inner city schools, so they were at-risk youth.
Right.
They decided they were
definitely at-risk youth.
They decided they were going to bring this in. Well, what they didn't realize was that the kids were not old enough to realize what they were watching, and they were going to take everything really seriously. So while they had the two people fighting in the ring, the devil versus God, they decided to have these demons come out. Now, the demons were like the junior high fat kids who drew the short straw. It was like, I'm going to run into the crowd and try to scare everybody. Problem was, the at-risk youth decided to start kicking and beating them, literally.
Yeah. It was full-on pandemonium. And just how normal wrestling is, like they get outside of the ring and they chase each other around. The kids would trip the bad guy. They were just throwing haymakers.
Yeah, there was at one point we had to pull children off of a 14-year-old boy who was being repeatedly kicked in the face. While wearing like a bathrobe or something. I mean, it was so low tech.
Yeah.
But I just remember that thing coming off the rails quickly when we realized they were really into this. Yep. And these kids really wanted to see a bloodbath.
We're all like, hey, everybody, it looks like the devil's taking my... Hey, kid, knock it up. Oh, my gosh, ring the bell. Oh, my gosh, we got to stop this.
It's over.
Kid, I'm serious. Sit down.
Yeah,
sit in your chair.
You're going to go back on
Everyone
the bus.
Sit in your chair.
These kids were beating the living daylights out of these kids. Yeah. And these, like I said, these were like fourth graders.
Yeah.
Punching and kicking 12-year-olds.
It was a bloodbath. It turned into basically a hardcore match. Like a ladder match. Table and chairs.
Anybody familiar?
Barbed wire match. That's what it turned into.
Yeah, who's the guy that came from like the old school wrestling? Like he came up and then he was a big with the big beard. Not Hacksaw Jim Duggan, but he would like cut himself in the ring. He would like fight on tacks.
Oh, Mick Foley.
Yeah, that style wrestling, just really real.
Yeah, these kids were taking it to him.
Yeah.
But it was bizarre. But so with all that being said, I've got back into wrestling and I'm loving it. I'm not looking back.
No, it's fine.
I'm enjoying it.
Listen, there's no judgment at all. If that's what you're into, there are way worse things you could have told me that you were all in on.
And it might be a way.
It's like I'm getting a flat top. I'm like, oh, we're doing that again.
Right. I'm just gonna start tanning.
Yeah.
Really tanning.
I'm going for that orange glow. Right. I want to look like a freaking Oompa Loompa.
Oh, I want to. Like your shirt right now. I want to look like that. Yeah. So,
hey, who's going to win WrestleMania next year?
I don't know. But
Ronda Rousey.
Oh, dude, her entrance, did you see it?
No. Did you tear up?
You got to YouTube it. It was awesome. Not only did she look fantastic, like when she came down, it was a throwback because her image that they've given her
is Rowdy Piper.
Is Hot Rod Rowdy Piper.
Yeah.
So she came down in
I saw her.
She looked
wrestling.
great, like the little skirt, the kilt, but it was like a mini,
Very mini
skirt. And she had the Hot Rod shirt on and the leather jacket. She came down. I mean, she's not she's not an attractive woman. I don't
mind her. I think she's cool.
I mean, she's not the bottom of the barrel, but
she's not going to be on the Diva show,
right?
But she's also. But I mean, I wouldn't. She's
got very hard features. You know what I mean?
But she could kick her. Could kick her ass 6 ways to Sunday,
and she could for me saying this. she's a pretty woman, but like when you line her up against all the other
intro was cool.
Yeah, the intro was fantastic. She came out to Bad Reputation, and it was.
She didn't come
awesome.
out to Come On Feel the Noise by Quiet Riot.
No, she didn't come out to Every Rose Has its Thorn. She came out to Hey There Delilah, hey.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away. We have the best patients in the world because of jail.
It never fails. Whenever I want to make a run at my wife, something comes up.
Okay.
And it ain't me.
Okay.
So the other night, it was last week.
Was she wearing the yoga pants?
No, she was wearing like the shirt from her old work. You know,
did she have it like tied and
no, she was like trying to go to sleep.
Oh,
and I was like, so it was like nighttime, and she was trying to go to sleep, and I was not trying to go to sleep.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I hear this noise outside the door, and I'm like, what is that noise? And then all of a sudden, the door whips open. and it's my daughter. Now, luckily, nothing was happening, but I wished it would have been. It was about
For your sake, not for
Oh my
someone
God.
walking in.
It was pitch black in the room. Thank
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I don't wish to be caught by anybody
Right.
doing anything.
You're
Yes.
not like an exhibitionist.
No, especially not for my children. No, that would be many years of therapy for them
Yeah,
if they walked in
absolutely.
and something were going on. No, nothing was going on, but it was also pitch black. The door whips open, and there is my daughter, sort of half in a daze. She's 11, so she's sort of.
Was it like Dawn of the Dead? When they like tell their daughter like at the beginning, like go get back in bed, and all of a sudden she like jumps up. And she's
No,
like,
no, none of that happened actually.
Okay.
Almost though.
Okay.
So she says, and I'm like, listen, we've talked about this before. You have to knock. She's like, she'll sometimes walk in on you and you're going to the bathroom. Like she doesn't really think about knocking before she goes into her room. Like she's knocking.
Well, then maybe she does need to walk in. That'll stop it real quick.
And then I hear this sound. No, it sounds like someone dropping something on the floor. Like if you drop the whole bowl of Jell-O on the floor.
Oh no.
And then I hear a pause, and then I hear it again. And I yell out, "Are you throwing up out there?" I go out into that hallway.
In the dark.
In the dark. I didn't need
Please
to turn
tell
on.
me you slipped in it.
I not only stepped in it, it was all over my feet. There was so much vomit on the floor
Oh my god.
that the smell
made you vomit.
almost. I'm now dry heaving. Wendy jumps up and is like, "What is going on?"
she slips.
She slips, puts her hand on the wall. It's all over the wall.
What?
Yeah, this was last week in my house at 11:30 at
This
night
is like
on
a
a weeknight.
Dexter crime scene.
Yeah, it looks like that. She had P.F. Chang's for dinner. There was rice everywhere, and a
PF
chocolate.
stands for puke flying.
I don't know what in the hell this girl was thinking, but the thought of going towards the toilet never crossed her mind.
No, they don't with kids. It doesn't.
Why?
I don't know. Because parents make everything better. So I'm going to be sick. I need to go to mom and dad because they're going to know what to do.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Now, thank God. It's funny. The next day, Wendy said to me, "Thank God."
Let's get rid of her.
No, thank God you told her to leave the room because she would have done that in our room.
Yeah.
Because the door was shut. Now it's all over my door, all over the ground. And as we know, with any time a dog goes to the bathroom in the house, or a child pukes, or even a dog pukes, it ain't like you can leave that till tomorrow.
Right.
So I'm sitting there in my underwear, scooping it up with a dustpan.
Oh my gosh.
There was
You
so
don't have
much.
a shop vac, like a wet vac?
I have one. I didn't even think to do that. I'm scooping it up and putting it into a bag. Then I had to spray down the entire
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Now, 2 days later, it still stunk like puke.
Yeah.
And I was finding rice in places.
Yeah.
And it's that smell that, you know how like when they make like jelly beans and they'll be like, this one tastes like vomit. And you're like, this tastes like vomit. But then you smell vomit and you're like, no, nothing actually.
Yeah.
You can't really pinpoint that smell.
Yeah,
until you-
those stomach acids.
Yeah, there's
You can't
just
get 'em.
something. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that was my night last week. That's
Ugh.
what. So then I scooped everything all up.
So was that the first time you ever had to deal with your daughter coming into your room and in a sick moment like that?
No, she. I mean, I would say she probably throws up more than any human being I've ever seen. And it's because my theory is because I take stomach medication because I have a lot of acid, so I have to
Me
take
too, yeah.
I have to take like a Prevacid or something along those lines. I don't even know what the name of it is because I go with the generic because I'm cheap. But yeah, and she won't take a pill, so she won't take the medication that the doctor gave her. So my theory is you fill up a bucket too much full of shit. Eventually, it's going to overflow.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have P.F. Chang's, then you go out and then you have, a giant sundae from.
Now, P.F. Chang's, we're not saying that
No,
you
no,
are shite. If you want to sponsor the show, I love your lettuce
No,
wraps.
yeah, the lettuce wraps, they're divine.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then
Dan noodles.
Yeah, and then she had, a bunch of ice cream, and then had a cookie and all this kind of.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, she had a lot to eat that night, and I think it
She
finally.
only weighs about 50 pounds.
Yeah, Joe just saw her a minute ago. Yeah, she's not a very big girl. She's little.
Yeah, she's very little.
Yeah.
She ate all that?
Yeah. So anyway, so she got sick everywhere. But yeah, that was my night, dude. Like that is my life. And this was on a night where I was seriously making a good run.
Yeah.
I thought the run was there. So then we get back into bed after we both had to take showers.
And you're like, hey, you want to bang?
Exactly. I did.
No shame.
Talk.
Absolute no shame.
Talk about your ultimate Hail Marys.
You're like,
I'm like,
hey, that just fired me up.
No, it didn't though. I could barely even like think sexy thoughts, but I was like, hey, listen, no
I'll
better.
power through.
Yeah, no better time than the
I'll
present.
power through. We know she's not getting out of bed, so how about we do this? How about we do
I was like,
this?
why don't we lock the door? We'll light a candle so that this doesn't smell like vomit in here. Oh, by the way, and the dogs were losing their mind because they wanted at that puke.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
Why? So you say, okay, so that my daughter does this quite a bit, but not to this extent. Usually she'll get to our door and have it all over herself. She's already thrown up by the time she gets there. And here's the thing: as a germaphobe, I know everyone listening is like, "Oh, aren't you a germaphobe?" Yeah, I am, but I'm selective in when I'm a germaphobe. Meaning, if I meet you on the street and you're like, "Oh, I've been throwing up all night," I'm like, "Well, that's it. I'm gonna get it." But my daughter, there's that sense of being a father that I have to clean it up.
Yeah, it's
like,
go time.
like I really don't. In that moment, I'm not like, "Oh, I can't do this."
Father duty trumps.
Right.
You know, it's like a doctor. It's like a first responder.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I put myself up there with all the heroes: first responders, firefighters,
Right.
and anybody served in the military.
You just block it out. You deal with the situation. Then after you get sick, right?
A friend of mine is a police officer, and he said every time he sees a dead body, he dry heaves. Every time he sees a dead body.
Seriously.
Yeah, every time. Anyways, so that was my night the other night. But again, I did what any red-blooded American would do, cleaned it up, and then made a run at my wife, and it did not go over well. Like, she was like, "Are you joking me right now?"
You're like, "Yeah, totally. I totally am." Why? Would you be down? Because I think that's weird. Like, if any of this situation made you frisky, that'd be weird.
It'd be weird.
I'm a good husband, so I will take care of you. But, like, seriously? No, I'm not. I'm not serious. Why are you serious? That whole deal.
Have you had your kids do this to you?
Oh, come in and puke?
Yeah.
Yes. Like, they've... My kids, like, they've each kind of gone through that thing where they, like, walk in, they're like, "Dad, I'm going to be sick."
and you're like, "Go somewhere else."
Yeah, it only took one time for each of them. And I told them, I'm like, you know, ladies, this is how this is going to work.
Yeah.
If you guys get sick in the middle of the night, you go into the bathroom, you scream for me.
Yeah, I'll come.
But this is where you need to be. And it only took the one time to say it.
Oh, no, it was,
good.
like I said, it was a bloodbath. Like,
Plus, if they go to bed and they're not feeling good, like, you give them, like, the wastebasket next to the bed and stuff like that. So, yeah, I haven't had them, like, puke anywhere where they shouldn't, except for, like, when they were a kid. Like, Ella, when she was little baby, she yacked all over my car. I had a Pontiac Aztec. And that
should have been your first warning that you shouldn't have had that car.
And then she puked all in her car seat and stuff.
What do you think of this Aztec? It's kind of like a pickup truck and also like an SUV and a car. What do you think?
And an ambulance all in one.
It's made by a company that's not even in business anymore.
It had more storage in it. It was fantastic. I loved my Aztec.
Okay.
I loved it.
What do you think, sweetie?
Yeah, and she just lost it, and it was all in her car seat, and we ended up just throwing the car seat out because it was disgusting.
Yeah, no, if I could have thrown out half my wall, like I was wiping down walls. There's family pictures that had vomit on them. Oh. And yesterday, I got a text from my wife who's out of town, and it just said, "So much vomit." There's just so much vomit. I don't know. I didn't know how she could what do they call it? Projectile vomit so much.
And then you get back in bed like, "Oh, I can't believe we just did that." And then you just kind of do the fingertip rub on her hip. Like, "Hey, that was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was." And then you like ran your fingers like through her hair above her ear, kissed her behind her ear.
No,
she's like, "What are you doing?" That was disgusting. And you were like, "Yeah, totally."
It's totally gross. It would be so crazy. What a crazy story we could tell us when we're older. We could tell us at her wedding and what we did after she threw up. Wouldn't that be funny?
You're like, "Geez, after cleaning up all that puke, you know what? I think I'm going to slip into this Borat bathing suit."
Needless to say, nothing happened. Except for I had a lot of cleaning up to do. Yeah, like I was throwing out, like clothes were thrown out, like everything. It's just bad.
Someone needs to make that as like an invention. Like there's lots of things that we have in life that their only use is for one thing, like a duster. You dust with a duster. There's nothing else that thing is used for. But we think we need to invent things that have multiple uses. Why isn't someone just made a puke cleaner upper? Because a mop and bucket doesn't work.
No, because you just smears it.
Yeah, and then when you gotta squeeze out the mop and it's got squiz on all that. It's disgusting. Wet vacs, they do real well. They do real well. That could be one of the things, but they just need like a puke sucker upper.
Right.
They need something. Is that what the sawdust is?
You mean that the custodian used to have to throw on it at school?
Like,
that's all it would take.
Why is
one
that,
kid just yakking and then that
yeah,
poor
why
custodian.
is that only for industrial places? Like how come they don't sell that sawdust at Kroger? Like how come I can't go into Kroger and buy, so my kid pukes just like
Illuminati.
I have Murphy's oil soap, just like I have other things.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I grab it, I throw it on the puke, it soaks it up.
Just the thought of that is just giving me the heat. It's just really, yeah. Needless to say, I made it through, and I went to bed lonely.
And you didn't get laid.
No, I 100% didn't.
On the radio.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.